Hi, I'm Uma Raj with Tekelp. Welcome to my Microsoft Excel Fundamentals tutorial number 1. This is a basic class for Excel meant for students or anybody wanting to learn Excel to do better at work or to learn Excel to find a job. I only expect that you are all familiar with Windows operating system and know how to use a keyboard and a mouse. We will go through some of the fundamentals and the tools of Excel before we dive into a real everyday problem. So what is Excel? It's a powerful and most popular electronic spreadsheet program, part of Microsoft Office suite. It consists of tabs called worksheets, and the collection of these worksheets is called a workbook. And what does Excel do? Excel manages numeric information easier and quicker. It's used to track and analyze data, performs calculations using formulas and functions, and present data in charts and tables so we can draw conclusions and make decisions. Here I'm using the 2019 version. So the tools may look different if you are using a different version of Excel, but what you learn here can be done in earlier versions too. So you start Excel by double clicking your Excel from the start menu or from your taskbar, and it opens a blank worksheet. You can have as many worksheets as you need in your workbook. Each worksheet consists of grids of rows and columns, and the data is organized into rows and columns. So there are more than 1 million rows and more than 16,000 columns. We can enter a text, a number, or a formula into a cell. Cell is the intersection of one column and one row, and it has got a unique address or name, and that address is a combination of the column cell order. That means it's a D1, F9, like that. So it's a column name and the row number. Range is a group of cells, a group of adjacent cells, and you can use a combination of two cell addresses to address a range. The combination is the left uppermost cell and semicolon and the lower rightmost column. So the address of this particular range will be E4 semicolon G7. And look at the worksheet. You can do some useful things your worksheet. You can add new worksheets to your workbook by just clicking on this new sheet, or just do a right click and insert worksheet. It's asking what you want to insert, and a worksheet, and click OK. You can delete that worksheet or any worksheet by just right click and delete. You can rename a worksheet, so I'm going to rename this to something more meaningful, like Excel sheet basic, something like that. You can move or copy a worksheet by again right click, and it gives you move and copy. Just click on that. Click this checkbox if you want to keep a copy in the present workbook and create to move the copy to another book. So just click here where you want to move it to. Either you can move it to a new workbook or any other workbook open, or to the current workbook. So just click on that, and it's asking where you want to move. So you can select where you want to, before which sheet you want to, or you can move it to the end of your workbook. So right now we don't want to do that, so I'm going to cancel that. You can hide and unhide a worksheet. Just right click, hide. That sheet will be hidden from the view. Again, if you want to bring it back, just right click again and just unhide, and it's saying okay, you want to bring back sheet basic, say okay, and that sheet is back. You can even color your worksheets different colors, so you can distinguish between each sheet. You can just right click at each sheet and select a color from the tab color column. Here it's giving you a lot of options for your color. So if you want to do that, if it works for you, then you can do that. Okay, now we will look at the parts of Excel. The first one is the title bar. So title bar is the name of your workbook. That is the name you give to your workbook when you save it to your PC or your OneDrive. Then the other one is the QAT. That is the topmost frequently used commands list. You can add more to this by clicking this down arrow, and right now I have only 4 of them selected: the save, the undo button, the redo button, and the new sheet. But if you want to add more, you can select open, email, anything you want. You can add a sort functionality, or if you click on this, you will get more commands. You can customize your quick access toolbar. So what it is it's a frequently used commands picked from the ribbon. So we are coming to the ribbon in a minute. So this part of Excel is called the ribbon. So QAD is basically the frequently used commands. It's kept there for your accessibility and convenience. So the same commands can be found on your ribbon too. So the ribbon is the major part of your Excel sheet. It's a earlier menu system. 2007 onwards, the menu is made into a ribbon, and there are 4 different parts of a ribbon. The topmost is called the tabs. Each one of these is called a tab, and there are groups of commands under each tab like this. The font is a group, the alignment is a group, the number is a group, and there is something else called a dialog launcher. That is an option for more functionality, more tools under each group. So you can just click on this arrow here and bring your dialog launcher. So I'm just going to cancel this out, and all the commands under each group, you will see several commands depending on what you need. So they are all related commands under each group. The next one I want to talk about is a formula bar. This is the formula bar. So you can see this tooltip. So tooltip is another important part of Excel. When you click on something, it tells you what it is. So when I click here, when I just hover over this portion, it's saying it's a wrap text. This is merge and center, and it explains in short what it does. So that's called a tooltip. So Excel that's very convenient if you want to know what that particular command or that tool does. Okay, so coming back to formula. Formula shows what is under each cell. So if I enter a value here like 4, and the formula bar is showing that cell content in that bar. Again, if I come back, if I move to the next cell, and if I put 7, the formula bar is showing my current cell, what the content of my current cell. It does something more than that. If I'm doing a small operation here, I'm just going to put a small formula. It's just a small addition. Any formula, any function in Excel starts with an equal sign. So I'm just going to put equal, and I'm just selecting this one. That's a 4, and I'm going to add a simple math plus 7 and enter to accept that. So when I click here, my cell is showing 7, but my formula is showing E4 plus F4. So basically it is showing the formula behind this cell. So what this cell does, that is what it is showing here. You can even edit this formula bar in and you can even add a small addition. You can do some operations there and select. So my cell content right now is showing 13 and my formula bar is showing E4 plus F4. And we just saw that the major part of Excel is made up of rows and columns, and each cell is an intersection of these rows and column. One another part of Excel is called the name box. The name box shows your current selected cell. So I'm selecting here is B13, so it's showing B13. It is also used to navigate to a cell. So if I'm going to put a cell address here, the cell address is the same as cell name. So I'm going to put here Q1 and enter, and it's slowly, it's hidden behind this table, but it took us to Q1. So we'll show one more example like D1. It's more visible. So it took me to this D1. So what it is, it's serving the purpose of navigation too. So you have more uses of the name box. We will see when we are looking at the tables and charts and pivot tables and more advanced stuff, because we can name any range, and you can give a meaningful name to that range, and it shows in your name box. So that's why it's called a name box. Another part of Excel worksheet is the zoom bar here. What it does is it zoom in by just clicking here, or zoom out, making your worksheet bigger or smaller depending on what you want to see on the sheet. If you want to see more, you can make it small. If you don't want to see more but you want to see something very clearly, you can make it, either you can use this plus and minus, or you can drag this zoom bar to both sides to make it big and small. Now we will look at one tab in particular, which is the file tab. So file does all the behind the scene housekeeping functionality for your Excel worksheet. So when you click on new, it opens you can double click on new and it opens a blank worksheet. It shows some templates already coming with the Excel. What it is, it's a pre-designed, pre-formatted Excel applications with formulas. So if you want to use a personal monthly budget, you can pick one of these and use minimum work, because it has got all the formatting, all the functions added to it. So you can just do minimum work and you can use this. So there are several Excel templates available for you, and if you don't see what you want to use here, you can always search in the online template. So you can just click whatever, just like a search bar, you can just type whatever you want and search for it, and Excel will bring it to you. And open will open any saved Excel worksheets from your computer where you are saved. So these are my worksheets right now. So it's showing the list of sheets you want to you want to open. Info gives you the information about the current workbook, the size of it, the title, how many times you changed it, auto saved, all kinds of information. You can add protection. Save will save your current workbook. Save as will save a copy of your current workbook. So if you want to save a copy somewhere else or send it to somebody, you can save it as under another name and save it. Print will naturally print it to your printer. Share, export and publish will export your worksheet. It publishes to your Power BI if you want to. We will see all that later. And close will close your worksheet. And another important thing you want to see under the file tab is option. So option is if you want to change some of the default settings with your Excel worksheet, you can come here and you can make the changes. There is a general tab, formulas, advanced. There are add-ins if you want to add more stuff like Power Pivot and Power Query. Customize your ribbon. You can come here and customize, add more tabs to your ribbon. Customize your QAT. We just saw that you can add more stuff to your QAT here by just clicking this down arrow. You can do the same thing from here too. So please make sure what you're doing here is what you want, because this can have some unexpected consequences later. So be aware what you are doing and make sure that is what you want to do. So be careful when you change your default settings. So that is pretty much what the parts of Excel, general tools we just saw, and what we can do with some of these tools, what they do. And next we will see a small example using some of the things we just saw. So I have a small expense report here. What it does is it's a small company expense budget, and it has got a personal expenses, and we will see later that it has got some operational expenses too. So just make a small example here, and we will do some formattings to this, and you notice that the labels or the text in a cell are all aligned to the left side of the cell, and the numbers are aligned to the right side of the cells. You can definitely go and change this alignment, but again you have to be very careful when you do that, because it has got some unexpected consequences if you don't know what you are doing, because numbers should be always on the right, so the cell sees this as a number and Excel will see this as a text. Okay, so now we will make some formatting changes to this. I'm going to make this expense budget a little bigger and make it bold. So this is where you make a text bold. You can even do Control B as a shortcut, or just click on this, make it a little more bigger by clicking here. And I just want to bring it to in the middle of these three cells. I can do that by merge and center. So click on the left cell, drag it all the way to C, and I'm just going to click here and I say merge and center. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to make it bold, and I'm going to make this again, drag it to all the way to C, and click on the merge and center, so it will make it. And I can make these three headings. I can do it one at a time, or I can just drag it all. I can select all of that, and I can just select the bold. So it made all these headings bold. Now we want to give some number formatting to these numbers, so I'm just going to select one value here. Before we do that, I just want to explain what it is. So this is a small company expense budget, and this is a personal budget, like how much we have the budgeted amount for the office and how much we actually spent and the difference. So we have under this personal expenses, we have office, store, salespeople, other, and the total. So I mean, this is just some random values I just put. So this is just a small example to show some of the tools and some of the functions we use in Excel. Okay, so I just want to make this into a currency. Right now they are all dollar amounts, but they don't show that they are all dollar amounts. So I'm just going to select one item here, and this is where I can do the number formatting. So I'm just going to select this down arrow here, and I have a lot of options here. I can do accounting and I can do currency. Both are similar, but there are some differences we will see later. But right now I'm just going to select this as currency. So I can do all these columns either I can select each one and make currency, or I can make use of the format painter here or the paintbrush. What it does is, without changing the cell contents, it's copying your formulas to other cells. We will see the format painter in detail in the next video. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this cell and click on the format painter once, and I can see that the tooltip is showing format painter because it's selected, and I'm going to keep this left mouse down and I'm going to drag it here, and so I'm going to select all that and I'm going to extend that to all the cells. Okay, it didn't select this. Okay, we will do one more time. I'm just going to select this, select my format painter, and I'm going to drag it all the way like this. So all the values are now showing as currencies. So for office, we saw that the budgeted amount was 1,200, but we spent only 1,150. So we want to find the difference here. So I'm just going to take this out for a minute. So how do we do the subtraction or the difference? So there is no function in Excel for subtraction. So I'm going to do a subtraction like this, equal. Any function, any formula in Excel starts with an equal sign, my budgeted amount, and we will do a minus sign here, and we select the next number and enter. So it finds the budgeted minus actual and it brings it here. Again, I can do manually the next one, but again Excel has a very useful tool called autofill. What it does is it fills your data as a series, or it copies. So this is called a fill handle. When you select this cell, you will see a small dark square at the bottom right part of the cell. That is called a fill handle. So I'm going to select that here and I'm going to slowly drag it down. So what it does is it's copying that formula to the next cell. So here we see that in the formula bar, we just saw that formula bar shows the behind the scene, behind the cell formula. So it's showing B5 minus C5. So when it comes here, when I moved one cell down, the formula also moved one cell down. So it, instead of it's showing B5 minus C5, it is right now showing B6 minus C6. So again, when it comes here, instead of showing B6 minus C6, it's showing B7 minus C7. So basically, the autofill handle copies that formula down all the way to the end of the data. So that is one useful tool for Excel for copying your formula. So we will again see a lot of other ways you can use an autofill formula in the next video. So I just extended this expense budget to show more. So right now we have the personal budget, and again some operating amounts to items here like advertising, supplies, postage and all that. So we will do another one more Excel function here, which is called the sum function, which is basically addition, and that is one of the most used function of Excel. So for everything and anything you need to know the sum function. So let me again make this all into a currency. Come here and click on currency, and we just saw that we just copied. Let me again do that subtraction here, equal to this minus this, exactly like we did in the last example. So I'm just going to drag it down and I'm going to bring it down. So it copied all the differences to the other uh, item. So it's all copied. Now we are going to do a small sum function here. So again, any function, any formula starts with an equal sign, equal, and there are different ways you can do a sum function, but right now we are just doing only the function called sum. I can double click here or I can just enter it, and it's showing number 1, number 2, number 3. So what I can do is I can just select 1, 2, 3, 4, or I can just select it as a range. We just saw that range is a adjacent group of cells which has also got as address. So I just selected it and I completed the function and entered it. So what it did is it added all the 4 values here and brought the function here. And again, you know that now I can pull this to all these cells. So the autofill can do the vertical copying, and it can also do the horizontal copying. So this is the autofill handle. I'm just clicking here and I'm just dragging it to the right. So basically what it did is it did the copying here. So instead of adding these 4 here, when I click, I can see that it is showing the sum of C5 all the way to C8, and when I come here, instead of showing C, it's showing D. So it's copied it. The similar way we can complete this. I'm just going to make again all this a currency, just doing the same thing we just did, currency. I can do this again, removing it. Any function, any formula starts with an equal sign. Subtraction doesn't have a function, so we are doing this number minus this number, enter. So it copied it, and we are going to drag the autofill handle here all the way to the last item here, which is again other. So it copied all that, and the same way we are going to find the total expenses, the operational item. So I'm going to use the sum function equal to. You can do several ways to do a sum function, but right now we are just doing the one simple way of doing it. So just sum. I can pick each number separate, like the 250, 500, or I can do easier. I can select all this using my left mouse down. I'm just going to select the whole range. The range is showing B11 all the way to B29. So I entered that. So it added. Again, we can use the fill handle to move it horizontally to copy that formula. So it added all the values. Okay, so we just did a simple expense report in Excel using the subtraction and sum function, and we just did some small formatting here, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, this is just the beginning of the function. This is the most simplest functions of Excel, and you will see a lot of advanced topics and advanced function in the coming videos. So in this introduction video, you saw the basic sum function, how to calculate subtraction, basic formatting to data elements, and worksheet fundamentals. So in the next video, we will be talking more about other tools like autofill and the format painter and sum function in more detail. So if you like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe so you will get notifications when new videos are uploaded. And please let me know if you have any questions or any comments. In the meanwhile, please play with Excel and practice. Thank you.